Hey everyone, we're back. Are you sick of us yet? No? Maybe this is the first time you've checked out something that we've done here. My name's Brandon. This is my wife Heidi.
Hi.
And we are actually pastors of the Northwest Campus in Rogers, Minnesota. And so if you are from the Northwest Campus, hello, we miss you.
Yes,
we
we do.
love you. But if you are not from that campus and maybe you're tuning in, you're not even connected to Living Word, you just kind of stumbled on this, like it's just an honor to us that you'd spend a little time listening to what God's put on our heart and allowing us to just encourage you as we encourage each other, you know, in the Word and the Lord, and just to get a fresh perspective every once in a while, besides everything else that, you know, we're hearing and we're seeing. And just so you know, like with everything that's gone on, I mean, we are really having to fight to stay in rest. And so stuff like this that we see online from all these incredible churches and ministries that are out there, it's just like food and fuel for our soul. And so, you know, we encourage you to continue to just dig into all the different resources that Living Word has, all the different resources from churches that are out there. What kind of a cool time to be living in despite everything negative that's going on. Such a cool time to see how churches are stepping up and stepping out in new ways of ministry. Amen. So thank you for being here, for tuning in. If I titled this something, it would be Fearlessly Faithful. Fearlessly faithful. But don't get me wrong, this is not about some sort of this is what you need to do during this time. It's time for us to be fearlessly faithful. No, this is about our God who is fearlessly faithful to us. God is faithful. Yeah. Everything complicated going on. All the details we're all trying to figure out. School, what's going on with our kids' school? What's that going to look like? Our jobs, what's going on with our jobs? What's that going to look like? What's the food and toilet paper situation going to look like? All these like new complicated things that are going on. Let's bring it back to something simple. God is faithful, right? It's crazy in the stores. It's crazy in our house. It's crazy on the news. But you know what's like, this is what's interesting. You know what's not crazy right now is Mother Nature. Mother Nature is not crazy. I mean, look outside, right? Look outside, and spring is still on its way, right? The grass is kind of turning green, and the snow is melting away, and we just got some rain, and so kind of that dirt and crud is being kind of washed off. The weather is starting to warm, and like the birds are out singing. You know, Mother Nature is not crazy right now. My wife is like totally into Mother Nature and like nature and the earth
creation.
and God's creation. Not like anything weird, but just like God's creation. So I'd have to assume you have something to say.
I mean, I find it oddly comforting when everything else is changing around us to know that nature doesn't skip a beat. God's creation is still doing what it needs to do. You know, just like Brandon said, the birds are making nests, the squirrels are chasing each other, the sun rises every morning, the stars come out every night. It doesn't skip a beat, and neither does God. And I feel like He speaks to us so much through His creation on purpose. So for us to just look at it and see what He's showing us, different seasons. Right now we're in this season, but it's going to pass. Yeah. It's going to be over, and we're going to move on with life. And I just feel like in this season, it's important to take advantage of what He's showing us, to ask Him what He's showing us, and to take advantage of that, because it's only going to be a season, and then it'll pass and something new will come, because He does that. New things come after a season, so just taking advantage of that. Yeah,
it's funny, you know, I feel like we're all like self-quarantining ourselves, but we forget like we can still go outside. Like we know that, right? Like we can go outside, and you know, maybe you guys have seen this too, but you know, driving somewhere, you see these people that are like going on walks. And I don't know, it's so weird. Like in our neighborhood, I've seen all these like individual people going on walks, and you like, no joke, you see like somebody like walking like this, you know, like, and they're like FaceTiming themselves as they like go on these little, has anybody seen that? Have you seen that? It's like, I'm gonna go on a walk and FaceTime somebody. At least like do like a walk with like someone 6 feet in front of you. You can still go outside. You can still do things together. Yeah. And how important right now to like, not to be way like Cinderella birds and tweeting deer coming up and feeding them from my hand like my wife is, but like why not go outside and surround ourselves in God's creation right now?
Solomon, he was the wisest person, and he studied God's creation.
Yeah.
He studied it because he knew there was something to it that God wanted to show him through it.
I feel like you're trying to prove a point to me right now, that because you like nature, you're a lot smarter than me, which you are actually. But you know, look outside. God is faithful, right? God is faithful, and kind of like it or not, after the night comes the morning.
Yeah.
And I think we need to give ourselves a little bit of a break as we're trying to like figure everything out. Like, let's just give ourselves a break and have some grace on ourselves, because this is hard and this is confusing, and there's like not a lot of solid answers in the natural. So I think we can give ourselves, as the seasons just change, let them do what they need to do, and give yourself permission. I mean, even to be a little nervous, to lose a little sleep, like to have a bad attitude now and then, like give yourself permission, give yourself grace, have grace on yourself, because God does. God shows us his grace and his mercy, so have it on yourself. As a person, I'm like an Enneagram 1, so I get hard on myself, and I'm like, I need to make this right. It's got to be perfect. I got to fix this, and if it's not, then I must have done something wrong. It's like, I need to have grace on myself and just chill out, because this will pass. Just like the morning will come, this will pass. And sometimes I feel like I know more about fear than I do about faith. And faith is simply just trusting in God, but a lot of times I know more about fear than I do about faith. And really, it's not about faith in what, it's faith in who, and that's God, of course. So really, to understand faith, and we've had a lot of time to process these sorts of things in the past couple weeks. To understand faith, I really feel like we got to bring it back to that basic of understanding God, and just in his simplicity, even who he is. So I want to read you a couple scriptures and just receive about, or just receive from these truths about who God is. Psalm 33:4, for God's word is something to sing about. He is true to his promises. His word can be trusted, and everything he does is reliable and right. God is faithful. 1 John 4:7, those who are loved by God, let his love continually pour from you to one another, because God is love. Everyone who loves is fathered by God and experiences an intimate knowledge of him. God is love. God is faithful, and God is love. Ephesians 2:4-5, but God still loved us with such great love. He is so rich in compassion and mercy. Even when we were dead and doomed in our many sins, he united us into the very life of Christ and saved us by his wonderful grace. So God is compassionate, and God is merciful, faithful. He's love, he's compassionate, and he's merciful. You know, I read these things, and you know, it kind of reminds me, one of the things that I struggle with is my self-image, right? Being a little vulnerable with you here. One of the things I struggle with is self-image. You know, there's so many amazing pastors out there. You got like Pastor Jim and Pastor Jamie Hammond. They're just like buff and tan all the time. I don't know how they do that. But, you know, it's hard not to like compare myself, even with like these amazing ministers out there. Like you got your Carl Lentzes and your Stephen Furticks, and it's just like, these guys are like cream of the crop. And as a pastor, sometimes, I can honestly pour my heart and soul into what I'm doing, into a message that I feel like God's given me, but then question myself afterwards. Mm-hmm. And, I've sometimes questioned the way that I've looked, or is what I said like anointed, and like questioned if it really impacted people, and, questioned if they like received anything. And I know I need to like grow up. I get that. But there's always like one thing, one simple truth. There's one person that always pulls me out of that funk of just questioning myself. And that's this lady right here. And, when I've like got done ministering or doing worship or something like that, she always tells me, you always tell me what you think about me. Mm-hmm. She's always telling me that she loved what I did, or, she kind of repeats something that maybe I said that was powerful to her, and that she loved what I said, and of course loved the way that I looked. Like she'll say little things like that. And honestly, amidst like the outside noise and the inside noise, I just think we all need to be reminded of those simple truths about what God says about us. Mm-hmm. How much kind of fearless faith he has in us. He's not afraid of our struggles. And he sees the whole situation. He knows our thoughts. And, we know he's love. We know he's faithful. We know he's compassionate. We know he's merciful. We know that he is fearlessly faithful even in the midst of our struggles. You know what I mean? Even when we have abandoned everything, even when we are like blaming him maybe for this crisis, even if we're like not being compassionate towards others and we're hoarding food that we don't necessarily need out of fear, like even amidst those types of things, he is compassionate. He is merciful. And I think it's so important that sometimes we remind ourselves how much that God is faithful to us. Even when we're not being faithful to him or who we know that he really is. I don't know, do you have anything you wanted to add to that, babe?
Yeah, when you were talking about listening to what he's saying to you inside your heart, I feel like it's so simple, like as a father and a child. Our little kids, Braven and River, they're 5 and 3. They tell us everything. They don't hold anything back. They say, I've got a cut and I'm screaming about it. I hurt, or I'm mad, or I'm scared, or I need a hug, or I'm so excited. They tell us everything. They come to us and tell us everything because they trust us. And they love us, and most importantly, they know that we love them. We care about how they feel. So it's just that simple knowing that we can go to the Lord and say, I am so scared, or I don't know what to do, or I'm worried, or I'm concerned, and and addressing that with him so that he can, it's like it gives him room to reveal the truth.
That's good.
About our situation, about who we are, about what he's doing, ways that he talks to us. He knows how to talk to us all individually in a way that only we talk to him. He knows how to talk to us and have that relationship individually and speak to us in ways that only he knows how to. So because we're his children. And and it's letting him have room to reveal that truth about who we are in that situation. And it's very simple because he cares and he loves us, and he has things to show us in these times, new things, new things to show us and take us to different levels because of the crisis that we're in. He's like, let me show you, let me show off my love, let me show you what I want to do. Just come and bring all that to me. Let me reveal it to you.
Yeah, that's good.
Take you to that new place.
Reminds me of this verse here, Hebrews 4:16. So now we come freely
Yes.
and boldly.
Yeah.
We come freely and boldly to where love is enthroned. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Why? To receive mercy's kiss and discover the grace we urgently need to strengthen us in our time of weakness.
Yeah.
We just want to leave you with that. You can go boldly to the throne of God and receive
So good.
grace and mercy and whatever you need during this time. We really love you guys.
I love you.